on the board. She's moving.
Just a couple minutes late, right? Three. Where's Diane? Well, that's good.
I'm glad you discovered it before you left out. Good. Well, I'm glad you discovered it before you left the building. I'm glad you discovered that before you left the building. You would have been out there looking at them. They were
Testing, testing.
better than me.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Good afternoon. The Board of Adjustments is now called to order at 1:04 on April 2nd.
Roll call is
Roll call
Chairperson Diane Frederick,
here.
Board Member Ferguson,
Here.
Board Member Griffin,
Here.
Board Member Lewis,
Here.
and Board Member Morgan is not with us.
Okay. The
We
approval.
don't have any minutes for the agenda for this time, at
Oh,
this time. But
Okay.
I'd like to see if it is okay with the chair and the board that we hear out of order item number C. It's BA 2024-03. If the first applicant has no objection, that's KDWH Properties. If we could take that one first.
C,
It's item C, BA 2024-03.
okay,
If we could hear that one first.
okay, so, all right. I have to, public hearing. Do I have to ask for comment?
No, you can just read into the record item C, or I can read it for you if you'd prefer.
Okay, item C, our first one is, BA 24 through 23 KDWH Properties of Florida LLC, 11157 Boca Woods Lane, Boca Raton, Florida. The applicant requests variance approval for the Board of Adjustment for the following variances: a variance of 20 feet from the required 40 feet front yard setback, a variance of 6 feet from the required 15 side yard setback, and a variance of 10 feet from the required 15 green belt around the perimeter of the property to allow 4,845 distribution warehouse with office space at 13,685 of outdoor storage on the northern portion of the lot, located at 1137 48th Street, lots 6 and 7, Roebuck subdivision, PCN 4443430508 0000060, and 1135 48th Street, lot 8, Roebuck subdivision, PCN 4443430508 0000080, Mangonia Park, Florida 33407. Do I have
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the applicant present? If they could approach the podium? Thank you, sir. Can you give the board your name, please, for the record?
Yes, Matt Wojciechowski of Schmidt Nichols.
Thank you, sir. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding, so I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, and I'll turn back to the Board of Adjustment and ask for any ex parte disclosures on this item.
You have to state if you've had conversations with the applicant about this project.
No.
Any outside conversations? Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. Sherry, does everybody have the presentations?
I thought that, is that 03 or 02?
3.
I think I mislabeled it. It says O2 on mine.
Okay.
But I have Easy Doc on there, though.
Right, easy dog.
Yes. So there's two presentations there. This, as I said, I had a typo on the front here, but we're looking at the one that says Easy Doc on the front. So I'm just gonna. All right. So if you will all flip to page 3 of that presentation, I have a summary of our requests that we are asking for. Request 1 is for a front setback reduction. We are asking for a variance of 20 feet to reduce the front setback from the required 40 feet to the proposed 20-foot front setback. Request number 2 is a side setback reduction of 6 feet. 15 feet is required and 9 feet is proposed. And our third request is for a green belt reduction to allow for a 10-foot reduction from the required 15-foot green belt. So 15 feet is required, and we are proposing to provide 5 feet of green belt. Flipping over to slide 4 and 5, you can see the aerial of where the site is located on the north side of 48th Street, east of Australian Avenue. So slide 4 kind of shows a little zoomed out view. Slide 5, you get a little more aerial of the site itself. It's comprised of 2 lots. They have been legally combined into one. So slides 6 and 7 show, slide 6 shows the future land use of the site, which is industrial, as well as the surrounding properties are all industrial as well. There is that light blue square on slide 6, just northwest of the site is a government building, or property rather, so it is not. And then slide 7 shows the zoning, which again, the site is entirely surrounded by industrial zoning as well. So on slide number 8, you can see I've highlighted where the 3 variances are proposed. You see V1 there at the bottom of the site, which is the south side facing 48th Street. That is where we are proposing the 20-foot setback, where 40 is typically required. The second variance is for the side setback, which is on the right side of the paper, or the east side of the site. Again, asking for a 6-foot reduction to that 15-foot setback. We're providing 9. And then the third variance you can see is around the perimeter of the property. That red line is where a 15-foot green belt is required, and we are proposing a 5-foot green belt. And just a point of clarity there, we are providing all of the required landscaping. So the same number of trees and shrubs that would be provided in a 15-foot green belt, it's just a little bit narrower due to some constraints on the site and being able to circulate. So I'm going to go over some of those on the next couple of slides, but I just wanted to point that out kind of while we were looking at the site, that there's no reduction in plant material, it's just the space on the site that's allocated for it. So flipping over to slide 9, so slides 9 and 10 contain the 6 variance standards that we are to address. So I've provided, so our justification provides a little bit more expansion on these, but I did just want to provide some responses to those for you to hear. So regarding standard number 1, the special conditions and circumstances that exist that are peculiar to the land, structure, or building are that these lots are, for industrial lots, these are quite small, and so there's already site constraints when purchasing just one lot. This applicant actually did have to purchase 2 lots and legally combine them. So that was one of the items that makes this site a little bit more challenging, is just the limited space overall. So multiple parcels were assembled for that. And one of the main reasons they need as much room as they do in the back, and we need some relaxation on those buffers, is there's an outdoor storage component to this, where they'll be storing some prefabricated docks. In order to store those and be able to provide the necessary loading and circulation and garbage pickup in the back of the site, we needed a little bit more room in the back there to relax that. So right now, those buffers account for about 20% of the site width. So we're asking to get about 20 feet of that back through these reductions. For number 2, explain how the special circumstances and conditions that exist do not result from the actions of the applicant. So the applicant purchased these parcels. They weren't able to, unfortunately, choose the size of the lot or how they were platted. The history behind this was previously a residential area, as you could see by the underlying lots. So they've had to go through that process of buying and combining those just to get to this size that they're at right now. So they've done everything they can to kind of counteract that and assemble as much land as possible. So number 3, explain how granting the granting of the requested variance will not confer to the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the zoning ordinance to other land, structures, or buildings in the same zoning district. So when looking throughout this district, so there's kind of 2 points to this. Number 1, there are quite a few properties in this district that do have some relaxed setback standards, green belt standards. So we wouldn't be gaining any advantage over necessarily any of the other parcels in this district, as there are a lot of nonconformities existing. And secondly, the amount of outdoor storage in the building area that we're providing is this, we're not gaining any outdoor storage area by asking for the reduction of these buffers, and we're not going above and beyond our building area, what we would be allowed to build if we had to meet these setbacks. So there's no additional area being added, it's just the way that it's configured works best for this operation. So moving on to slide number 10. Explain how the literal interpretation of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district. So again, as I mentioned with this previous one, there are quite a few properties here that have side and rear setback reductions that have allowed those sites to work a little bit better within this zoning district. So we're asking to kind of match some of the other setbacks that are found in the area to be able to enjoy our property as others are. Number 6, explain how the variance requested is the minimum variance that will make possible a reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. So these relaxed standards will allow, as I mentioned, the site to be able to operate safely and load and unload and not have any spillover effects onto the street. This is the minimum that they do need to, in order for those operations to happen. And with that, we are able to provide, as I said, all of the required planting materials and all of the screening for the outdoor storage that makes this site be able to work. So, and then number 6, explain how the granting of the requested variance will be in harmony with the general intent of the zoning code. So for this one, we are proposing an industrial use within, the heart of the industrial district. As I pointed out earlier, it is surrounded by all industrial projects, so it will be in harmony with those. This site also, as I mentioned, has some outdoor storage, and this configuration with these buffers and the building oriented the way it is allows the site to be secured with security fencing and gates at the front, which allows for a little bit better security within the neighborhood to have that outdoor storage screened and secured within the district. So those are the responses to the 6 criteria for the variance. And slide 11 has a picture of our site plan. I did provide some larger ones with the application, but I wanted this here just in case there were any questions about the layout or the site itself. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Say that again, I didn't hear you the last part.
Oh, I just said that the site plan is on page 11.
Any questions?
On the last page of his presentation. No, that's it.
Yeah. No, that's all, that's all I have, as far as that. But the site plan's here if you have any questions or were wondering, had any more discussion about that.
Can we cover some ground with the
I was
board before we
just
have-
about to do that, Madam Chair. If I could just make a couple of comments before you ask for board member comments. So the applicant's planner just did a very thorough review, but I just wanted to remind the board, number one, as planners often do, they like to show you the site plan, but as the applicant's planner just showed you, that site plan is just for informational purposes. The items before you are variances today. So you have 3 applications, all variance requests. Your job as the Board of Adjustment here today is to review the application before you, which you have in your folders, and also the additional supplemental information that the planner just provided to you, as well as his verbal presentation. You're to review that material against the 6 criteria that he just went over. So there are 6 criteria in the code. They're in his slides on slides 9 and 10. They're also in the application. Criteria 1 is special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land structure or building involved, which are not applicable to other land structures or building in the same zoning district. 2 are that special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. 3, that granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other lands, buildings, structures, or structures in the same zoning district. 4 is the literal interpretation of the provisions of this ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district under the terms of the ordinance and would work unnecessary and undue hardship on the applicant. 5 is that the variance granted is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. And 6 is that the grant of the variance will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the ordinance, and that such variance will not be injurious to the to the area involved or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. So those are the 6 criteria that you're to be evaluating. You can certainly ask the applicant any questions, but he's provided, as I said, written responses in the application as well as his verbal presentation here today. Your job is to review both the verbal and the written record before you and determine whether the applicant has met their burden to satisfy each of those criteria. If you feel that the applicant has met that burden by competent and substantial evidence, basically that means if other reasonable people sitting up on the dais where you're sitting, if they could come to the same decision, then you should grant the variance if you think that they've satisfied all 6 of those criteria. If you don't think they've met their burden, when it comes time to make any motions, I'll ask you to specify the specific criteria that you think hasn't been met. But now is the time for the board to ask any questions of the applicant. If you need any additional clarification, anything added to their responses, now's the time to ask that. And just one other reminder, this often comes up. Other variances granted have no bearing on the applications before you. So each variance application that you review is based on the application before you and your evaluation of the variance criteria. So just because the neighboring property 3 doors down got a variance doesn't mean that this application should get a variance. So with that, I'll stop, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them as you go forward.
And for the record, we did receive a call. They didn't identify themselves, but they wanted to make sure that they got the process correctly. And they wanted to confirm that the applicants have gone through the DRC process, basically. And I did tell them that each applicant has gone through the DRC process at one point or another. And also that DRC does not grant them approval. It's just a staff review by the team.
That's
whether
correct.
That's a team
You're-
of engineers,
yeah.
attorneys, and planners, but they still have to come before the Board of Adjustment for official approval.
That's right, and just so the record is very clear, and as part of your backup that the clerk sent to you, this application as well as the other applications on your agenda were certainly legally advertised as required by the town code and also as required by state law. So there was an advertisement that ran in the Palm Beach Post. So the idea is anybody who wanted to come to this hearing, if they are an interested party or a neighbor of the property, they certainly were put on notice of the hearing so that they could come today and present any comments to the board.
Madam Chair, and just for the record, just to say this, the property owners, they have been through quite a few development review committee meetings over the years. They've owned the property for some time. I think we all got a little bit delayed during COVID, They did, and staff has reviewed this thoroughly. We offer no objections to it. We're happy to answer any questions that you have, and we'll go from there.
So Ken, you're
And
saying
they-
you don't see a problem with it?
No, no, ma'am. No. In fact, they're an existing business. They have other locations. They know the drill, so we see no issues with it.
This is not the new site. Well, I'm looking at this print here. This is not, is this the new site that's on the corner? That's a different variant.
Just down from there.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. This is where the three buildings, three residential building property was on.
Two,
Is that correct? Two of them.
right?
I know it's three there, but it's two, one is abandoned. Yeah, you could do however you want to do it. I think that's the
Yeah.
proper way.
Come to
Yeah.
the podium and I'll swear you in. If you could state your name to the board, please.
First name Rick, last name Hybel.
Thank you. Do you swear from to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
So I think you're asking, there's another application on today that has three properties that's
three.
across the street from us. We're the property across the street from that, which is two pieces. There's two houses on there.
Okay,
1135 and
It's on the north side of the street.
all right.
Right
I'm
next
looking
to
at
the
wrong one
daycare.
there.
Oh, now you're gonna get me to 25,
Okay. Subject site. No, I'm concerned about the manner of a hand. Which one is you all? This is you all.
This is
Okay,
our two spots here.
okay.
See, I think you have, this application coming
We
in
have
front
quite
of
a
you
few
tonight
for
too,
that
but this is
street.
us. These two. There's a sawmill on the corner and there's our two pieces.
They're right next to the
Got you right
daycare.
next to the, I understand. I got you. Okay,
This,
okay.
Yes, all three of them are in the same area,
Right.
48th Street.
This is the sawmill.
right. Okay, that's behind the.
All three of them applications today.
That's good. Thank you.
These are two homes that were owned by Charles Miller, that used to be on the Board of Adjustment, and Glenn Fannin, a longtime resident, when you were vice mayor on the board. They're right next to the daycare that used to be run by Cedric and Carla. I forgot their last
But they
name.
have nothing to do with this particular,
They are the
Property.
new owners
They're
of
the new
those
owners,
two
keep me
properties.
understanding.
They're still single-family homes,
That's
and
what I
they've been
thought.
operating as easy docks out of them. They went before the governing body, planning and zoning board, to get a special exception a couple of years ago.
right?
They were granted approval, and then they bought the property next door to expand their business. And that's why they have to come before you.
Gotcha.
Because they have to expand the variance.
Right, they have to.
It was two houses. We always tried to buy both pieces, but one wasn't able to sell, and then COVID came in and the other guy was ready to sell. So we owned one piece for roughly about 6 years, the other piece for just over a year.
Okay, I understand, I got
And
it.
your name is not on the buildings? It's not?
Our name is not on the building, no, because they're residential at this point.
Oh, I see.
I had a, question, I guess just clarification, I'm more of a visual person. And so how does the screening work that they're talking about? The screening?
So this particular property it's a 5-foot wide green belt. There's trees on center. I believe it's every 30 feet, there's a canopy tree, as well as a continuous hedgerow of at least 36 inches high. So that would provide, and then there's a 6-foot chain link fence on the inside of that, 5 feet inside the property line, that would serve as for the security of
Of the building?
the building and the goods in the storage yard, yes.
So the storage, then where it says outside storage, that
Mhm.
storage is actually screened in?
Yes,
Some
there's
kinda
a
way.
fence around the
Oh.
perimeter, and it ties into both sides of the building.
Okay.
So the parking and the outdoor storage are all enclosed with within the fence.
A lot of the other things with being so detailed, he addressed.
Yeah, and to your question
That I
about the
had looked at
landscape
first.
screening, what he told you before, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but what he said is the same amount of landscape material is gonna be installed, just
Right.
squished.
Just in a
Right,
Yeah,
smaller
squished up a
area.
little
the
bit.
trees, being a little offset, they're just in a continuous row, but same number of trees.
So the property to the left of us is, that's just a building right on the property line. There's there's no visual that would be an issue. The only visual would be the back lot of it.
The back part.
But, and on the daycare side, that's a parking lot, so it wouldn't, there isn't anyone that's gonna be affected with looking in.
The storage, oh, okay.
Okay.
That was the only concern I had with that one.
Any other comments on the board? Okay,
Could you ask for public comment on this item, Madam Chair?
is there public comment on this item? Anyone from the public?
For the record, we have no viewers on YouTube.
Okay, Madam Chair, so if there's no public comment, you can close the floor to public comment.
Okay, the, public comments are closed, hereby closed, is there no comments? Okay, the Board of Adjustment having heard the applicant, are there any other questions?
I do have one more. When you say you're gonna put the rubbish or landscape on, you're putting the same amount on a smaller area, same amount of rubbish. Wouldn't that affect somebody else, the other property that's next to yours, due to the fact? Because you're bunching it all in at one point. So what it sound like to me.
It's
I'm
really.
sorry, I didn't get the
Oh,
mic.
no, you're fine. 5 feet, that's a typical industrial buffer, is usually between 5 and 7 feet in a lot of other areas. So we've seen we worked with these types of buffers in the county, in the adjacent cities. So we know that this type of landscaping will fit in there without having any spillover onto adjacent properties. It'll survive within that area. So that's a very typical buffer size to fit this type of landscaping.
5 to 6 feet. Okay. All right. I'm good.
Thanks.
Okay, having heard the applicant, is there a motion to reject or accept the application?
I motion that we go ahead and approve the variance for this applicant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and second to accept, to grant you your variances for this property.
And Madam Chair, if you could have the clerk do roll call for a vote, please.
I need a roll call for a vote on this.
Council, or Board Member Lewis,
Yes.
Board Member Griffin,
Yes.
Board Member Ferguson,
Yes.
and Sheriff Frederick.
Yes.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
We're back at the beginning.
Okay, our next applicant would be from, Integrity Construction. The application A is BA 2401, Integrity First Construction, 1812 Oregon Avenue, Lake Worth, Florida. The applicant requests variance approval from the Board of Adjustment for the following variances. Number 1, a variance of 10 feet from the required 15 side yard setback for the proposed building on the west side of the property. 2, a variance of 6.6 feet from the required 15 feet side yard setback for existing building B on the east side of the property. And 3, a variance of 10 feet from the required 15 green belt along the north, east, and west property boundaries. 4, a variance to allow 11 parking spaces calculated at 1 space per 3 beds plus 1 space per 250 feet of office space consistent with Palm Beach County's parking requirements where the town code requires 19 parking spaces. 5, a variance of 20 feet from the required 40 feet from setback from the proposed building on the west side of the property. 6, a variance of 16 feet, 16 inches from the required 40 feet setback for existing building A. And 7, a variance of 14 feet, 6 inches from the required 40 front setback for existing building B to allow for the retention of 2 existing buildings on the northern side of the property, the demolition of a 3rd building to be replaced with new construction of a 4,793 SF building for an existing detox facility located at 1126 48th Street, Roebucks Division, lots 12 through 15 and lots 33 through 36. PCN 44 43 43 05 08 000 0120, Mangonia Park, Florida 33407.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry that was a mouthful for you. If I could have the applicants state their names, this too is a quasi-judicial proceeding.
Sure. I'm Jonathan Harris with Integrity First Construction.
And your name, sir?
John Paykel with Intrepid Detox Residential.
Thank you. Can you both raise your right hands? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And I'll turn back to the board and ask for any ex parte disclosures that need to be disclosed at this time.
None.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, just a couple of footnotes to this before they get started. This is an existing facility, okay? So they're going to do some work to that. They've been in business for 10, 15 or so years, so they are operating already. They've been in town for quite a while, okay? They're very close to the location that you just voted on, and they've had some very thorough staff reviews through the Development Review Committee also, and we have no issues, so.
Okay, you can, you're gonna make a presentation?
You might remember us. Since the last time we were here, I got married and I had to make 3 speeches in front of 120 people, so I hope I can make a good one in front of 7.
Okay.
So
Tell
far,
me your
so
name
good.
again, please.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris.
They're here in
All right.
January.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your marriage.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you so much. So our entire property is self-sufficient, so it's all within a masonry wall and gates as it is now. We're going to be replacing an existing building, and so we're going to be knocking that down and putting one up in its place. Currently, we have parking which allows 8 standard spots with 1 ADA. We're going to be increasing that to 10 standard spots with 1 ADA. And one thing about our facility, which is a little different, is the patients do not drive their own cars in. They are picked up. So the only spots that we would need is for our staff. Besides that, for the first variance, we were looking for the side setbacks to go from 15 to 5 feet. And it already encroaches the side setback, and we had been granted that in a previous variance request. So we stood before you a couple months ago. We had a little more of a grander plan. We decided since then to scale it back significantly. So now it's all going to be within the walls of the property. And also, we have a stormwater pond, which is over here, which acts like as a buffer itself. So I think that we pretty much would meet most of your criteria. Again, being that we're within walls, we're not an open facility. Everything that we're asking for, the variances, is done within inside of our walls.
And then the landscape buffer.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And then the landscape buffer we would be putting in, the codes currently says 15 feet. We would be going to 5 feet, and we'd be putting it along the northern, the eastern, and the western sides of the property as well.
What number is that, Jonathan?
That would be variance 2. So that, along with the stormwater pond, basically would be giving us buffers all the way around.
And I believe the reason that it was such a mouthful was that there are existing buildings on the eastern side of the property. And as we're going through this process, I believe they're not non-conforming now.
They're legal nonconformings now, correct?
We're just kind of, I guess we're asking for a variance to just bring them, we're not trying to move those buildings, we're just requesting a variance so that they become conforming. And these are the two buildings on the northeast corner of the property. So those will remain, and that's the reason for the variance of the 6.6, I think, feet somewhere. We don't want to move those buildings, I suppose, is what we're requesting.
Oh, existing building on
It's a
the east
different
side.
language to me, I don't really know how to read this, but
And
that's what we're asking.
just for the board's clarification, that was a recommendation of town staff, the town engineer specifically. Anytime there are legal non-conforming buildings or parking, you've seen that on many other occasions. It's just to true up basically the current conditions against the code, grant the variance, or have the applicant request the variance to be granted from you all, because as he said, they have no intention of moving the existing buildings. But that was I just wanted you to know that was a town staff recommendation.
The one concern I had was about those parking spaces, but he had addressed that, because I was gonna ask if the people that were in the detox drove their vehicles.
The 99% of them do not.
Do not?
We pick them up from the airport, bring them in.
Oh, okay.
Or we pick them up from Delray, and we pick them up from all over Palm Beach County, Broward County, and we bring them in. I actively try to not allow for their vehicles to be on the property, because, not just for parking, for security concerns. I don't want to get out in the car, I don't want them, it's a secure facility, it's a substance abuse facility. Better off not having that.
Not having it.
Yeah.
How many people do you, I mean, they stay there, right?
They stay there. So this is an inpatient facility, so it covers the detox phase and the inpatient residential phase of treatment. Detox phase is usually about 6 or 7 days. It's people on the taper to get medically kind of acclimated, make sure that there's no complications when they're coming off whatever substance it is that their bodies are dependent upon.
Right.
And then there's another 3, and then the residential is about another 2 to 3 weeks, where there's 40 clinical hours a week, and begin kind of in the group therapy setting and getting getting acquainted with the tools that they're going to need once they leave in order to maintain sobriety. But it is done, it's an inpatient facility, so there's no, they can't go out for coffee. Once they come, that's it, they're there for anywhere from 21 to 28 days. And we have a bed count of 21.
21. And how big is your staff?
So, I mean, I can get into this. I'm very proud of it. We have a very high ratio of therapists to patients, I think higher than any one of our competitors around. I have a maximum census of 21, and staff therapists, I have 5 staff therapists. So that's, that's a maximum caseload of 5, whereas any number of my competitors will be giving their primary therapists 10 to 11 patients, and really at that point you're just kind of checking off boxes. You're not really practicing therapy. That's just the clinical staff. We have a practitioner. We have a physician that comes in every day. There's around the clock nursing staff as well. Not even to mention the behavioral health technicians. There's 3 of those on the clock. Around the clock. There's 3 shifts. 3 techs per shift. So yeah, it's very amply staffed. It's the clinical part, which is the cool part, I think.
Okay. So, the parking spaces you would need for your staff is how many?
11 in total, yep, 10 standard and 1 ADA.
Yeah, we want to add, I think,
2 additional spots.
yeah. And for the site plan, we're going to be removing buildings, right? And then we're going to be knocking one building down, replacing it with a larger building, but as part of the process, we're going to remove this smaller building down here once the newer building is complete. So I'm increasing square footage, and we are going to increase the bed count, but we're doing it in such a way where I don't really need to increase the staff presence. I'll probably add another therapist.
Okay.
So with increasing, oh, I'm sorry, she might have finished. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Increasing this, the building, I'm quite sure you're gonna add more patients, you're saying, and then you're gonna need more staff. So later down the road, you'll be, I'm quite sure, coming back for another variance, for more parking or something. I'm thinking, because if you're making it larger.
I would love to, and well, we can't talk about this right now. We had, the original plan, the parcel across the street.
Okay.
If you guys have driven down, Foster.
Yeah.
And down 47, there is this piece of, the triangular, everything's on that, I'll just flip it over real quick. Oh, you're right. So, right, the red outline, I purchased that property some time ago, and this is what we were trying to turn it into.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yes, it is.
That's gorgeous.
Please remember this, because I'm gonna come back and ask you if I can do this. But yes,
Beautifying
this is
our
what we're
town.
trying to do. There's an issue though with it being across the street, we were talking about abandoning 47th Street and trying to work on all that, but I'm gonna be working on that over the coming year. It's just that we reduced the site plan in order to do the one building, because I gotta get started building. I'm not, there will be in the future more modifications, I hope. I really, like, if I can, if you let me do this in this area, it's gonna be gorgeous. I just need the parking. But it's across 47th, and we're gonna work on the abandonment. I'm talking to all the neighbors, and I met Nick, over the phone 6 months ago, and I found his number somewhere. So, yeah, we're working on that. As it stands now with the first phase, we can add these spaces, and it's in accordance with, the best practice as laid out by the Palm Beach County standard parking.
Okay.
So it's, in line with those best practices for the first phase.
And if down the line we come back,
Yeah, down the line, I hope to do that, or else it's just, I can't, I don't
Additional
want to.
Because those people gonna have to cross, you look like they're gonna have to cross the street for the
Right.
parking.
So, but if I may, this is the street.
Right.
Streets narrow.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's so short, it ends right there.
Okay.
And we're the only real permanent driveway on the
That's
street.
there.
Okay.
So, we were hoping to try to work that out. I would paint crosswalks, put up flankers, signs, and lights and everything, whatever you guys.
I thought it was another house, a residential house down there at the end, on the left.
There is.
Yeah, because I've been down there, yeah.
That's Ludwig, yeah.
Okay. And I know Cough is, you dead into them.
Cost is at the end too.
Yeah,
I
that's
was-
Okay.
very
I was
cost.
speaking to that gentleman, he has those two lots, and he has a gate
Right,
back in there.
right.
Now, that's not a permitted, ingress or egress or whatever, but I spoke to him, and he said he would need to maintain his ability to kind of pull vehicles out of the back lot of that.
Yes.
And I would work that out with him, I'd grant him that ability to do that in perpetuity. But this is a different topic.
That is it, yes.
Right,
Exactly.
so you
All
just
good
wanna-
information, but
Right.
Warming you guys up for, next
But
year.
you wanna-
The attorney was very gracious with her leeway. So, I'm sorry.
You're talking about increasing the number of parking spaces, you said from 8 to 10, and one,
No,
And
yeah,
188.
currently we have 188, it's exactly what you said, 8 to 10.
Yeah, so we're
from,
gonna be
you have
adding-
8, and they wanna add 2 more, which would
Right.
make it 10,
Yes,
10 spaces.
yes.
where is that on?
Well, yeah, 10 spaces
Plus
plus
the
the
ADA.
ADA.
Plus the ADA. Oh,
But everything
11.
will be inside of the walls as it is currently as well.
Okay, that's the
I
very.
have no problem with that,
Four.
it's still on the inside.
4.
It
That's
helps,
good.
it helps when you have the walls. you
Yeah,
know,
it does.
Keeps everything
It should be
inside.
no
Right.
problem at all. Sound good.
Yeah.
Our
I
town is getting
Have, the board
beautified.
has heard, any other comments or questions from the board? Are there public comments? Any public comments?
We have no one on YouTube.
Okay, the public comments have been closed, and, the Board of Adjustment, you haven't heard the applicant and their proposals of, all these variances? Is there a motion to accept or reject?
So moved.
Yes.
I said so moved.
Yes, second.
And just so the record is clear, was that a motion to approve?
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
is the seconder of the motion in agreement with
Yes.
seconding a motion to approve? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, it has been motioned and seconded to accept your proposal of your variances. And for
So
your
in my
due
lingo,
time.
it's I do, right?
Not quite yet. Wait for the roll call.
You don't want to do that twice, you
No,
know?
sir.
Madam Chair, if you could ask the clerk to call the roll.
Yes. Councilmember Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Sorry, not council members. Board member
Thank you.
Lewis first.
Yes.
Board member Griffin.
Yes.
Board member Ferguson.
Yes.
And Chair Frederick.
Yes.
I'm already at the 6 o'clock vote. Was
Unanimous,
unanimous.
it has been unanimously accepted. Okay.
Thank you guys very much.
Jonathan, all right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much.
All right.
Y'all are building up our town.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's cancel that.
You just need to.
Oh, I thought it was 3, but it's only 2.
No, it's a third.
No, he's not here. Oh,
Brown
it's the same guy.
Next board.
I think it's him. I told you, all of them right there together. On
All of them
48,
working
right on-
together?
Right in there together.
There's
So we
some
got one more.
There's one more. Yes, ma'am.
One more.
Item B on your agenda on page 2.
on page 2. Yeah, but they're not here.
We'll have a count.
They're here.
Yeah, he's here, the gentleman there with the gray shirt.
Oh, him.
That's why he said, I'm good.
Oh. Oh, boy.
His is short,
Thank you,
I think.
Jason.
I see.
That's for Foster, right?
This is for Atlantic Coast Precast. So I think I had a little mislabel on my cover sheet there.
Was that for the other?
What, you
that
had
you gave
Foster?
us?
Precast, yeah, I did 2 of these.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I
So
saw
on the
two.
bottom line here,
Atlantic, I have that one. Okay, one that said
It says
Atlantic.
Foster.
I know, I got them.
Yeah.
I understand. Hey.
Madam Chair, would you like me to read item B into the record for you and give you a break? Or would you rather read
Go
it?
ahead.
Okay, you've had quite a lot to read today. Item B is BA 2024-02, Foster Road Properties LLC, 550 Route 36, Belford, New Jersey, 07718. The applicant requests variance approval from the Board of Adjustment for the following variances. 1, a variance of 5 feet from the minimum driveway separation distance of 150 feet, and 2, a variance of 10 feet from the required 15-foot green belt around the perimeter of the property to allow the new construction of an 18,750 square foot distribution warehouse and 7,500 square feet of outdoor storage located at 1130 48th Street, lots 16 through 19, and lots 26 through 32, Roebuck subdivision, PCN 443343050800000160, Mangonia Park, Florida. And with that, Madam Chair, if I may, I'll let the record reflect that the applicant was sworn on a prior application, but I'm going to swear him in again for this application. Could you state your name and raise your right hand for me?
Yes, Matt Wojciechowski of Schmidt Nichols.
Thank you. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much, and I'll turn back to the Board of Adjustment for any ex parte disclosures on this item.
None.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
All right, great. Thanks for hanging in there with me. So we've got one more for you today, also on 48th Street. I'm going to walk over to the board and just point it out. So we are moving just west to this parcel right here. So we are directly next door to the project that we just heard and directly across the street from the first one today. So we are on between 47th and 48th Street. We've got frontage. So, as was stated and is in the application, we do have 2 variance requests for you today. On sheet 3 of my presentation here, I've got them typed out. So we have a driveway separation variance. That is for our driveways are required to be, there are 2 fronting on 48th Street. They're required to be 150 feet apart. Due to the limited width of our parcel, we are only able to space them out 145 feet apart. So we're 5 feet short of the required separation distance, and we're asking for a waiver from that standard to go down to 145. And our second request is similar to the ones you've already heard today, the greenbelt reduction. We are asking to reduce that again, a 10-foot reduction from the required 15 down to our proposed 5-foot landscape buffer. So flipping through my presentation, it'll look the same as the one you saw on the first hearing here. Same layout. So on slide 4, we have the aerial that shows the subject site between 47th and 48th Street, just east of Australian. Slide 5 shows the aerial of the existing site. You can see that there are a few structures. I believe there's 3 single-family homes and a few sheds throughout the property. All of those are proposed, will be removed. The site will be cleared. So that just gives you an idea of the how the site's laid out within the neighborhood. Again, slide 6 shows the future land use. We have industrial future land use and are surrounded by industrial future land use. Slide 7 shows that we have industrial zoning on this site, which is the same as the sites surrounding us as well. And slide 8, gave you a little peek of the site plan here again, just to show you where the variances are located. As you can see on the top of, when you're looking at slide 8, sort of along the top, you'll see 48th Street there. Those are the 2 driveways that we're proposing. As you can see, there's some parking along the west side of the site. We're required to have a little island there, so our driveway gets pushed in a few feet, but they are spaced out as far as they can along our property frontage. And this, the site needs 2 driveways to help again with that circulation. There's not as much room on this site to turn around in the back, so we need the 2 driveways to be able to make sure that we can circulate the site safely with the trucks and employees that are gonna be there. Again, slide 9 demonstrates our compliance with the variance standards. So this site, again, has a very unique parcel shape, as you can see from the aerial and the site plan. There's a good deal of this site that's dedicated to surface drainage and stormwater storage, which kind of reduces our buildable area. So in order to have that room to circulate the site safely and provide the buffers and parking and all that, we are asking for a reduction. The building meets all the setbacks. It's just a reduction in that side green belt that we're asking for. This site also, the green belt provides all of the required planting materials, just in a smaller area than the code requires. Number 4, the literal interpretation, explain how the literal interpretation of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district. So other properties, as we have seen through the aerials, do have some reduced setbacks. We're asking reduced setbacks and reduced buffers. So we're asking to match that, and we are not gaining any additional floor space or outdoor storage or parking or anything that would be limited by the code by asking for this waiver. Number 5, explain how the variance requested is the minimum variance that will make possible a reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. So this is the minimum amount needed to still provide the required landscaping, as well as to provide the required parking and circulation that the site requires to operate safely. And explain how the granting of the requested variance will be in harmony with the general intent of the zoning code and will not be injurious to the area involved or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. So this is an industrial site within an industrial district surrounded by industrial properties on all sides. So we are proposing an industrial use, providing the necessary landscaping that will achieve the screening for this site, just again in a smaller area, and by providing additional driveways. It will allow for safer circulation into and out of the site instead of moving everybody to one driveway. So that will help with traffic flow and will not be injurious or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions that you have regarding.
Yeah, I do have a question. The colors that you have in this presentation, on page 6, you have it in red and orange, right? What is the red and orange, what are they representing of it? This is,
My apologies. So the red, which is located, I think you're seeing kind of on that bottom left half of the map. The red is commercial, future land use properties.
The microphone went out, he's saying.
So the red that you're seeing on the map on page 6, those are commercial properties. That's the future land use designation of that. That is on the south, that's on the southeast or west side of the railroad, so that is separated, but the red is commercial and the orange is planned industrial park.
and then you have the same thing in purple on page 7.
Correct, yep, that's the existing, that's the existing zoning map on page 7. So we're not proposing to change that. It was just to show that the surrounding zoning is the same as our zoning. So that we're compatible with all the surrounding uses.
The subject site is on page 5.
No, see, I had site right here. We didn't have the site right here.
If I could just add to that, he gave you a copy of the future land use map and the zoning map, just to show you their site in relation to the town's existing future land use designations and the existing zoning map. So that's just to show you what the surroundings are currently land used and zoned.
I would like to ask a question. Are all of you working together or something? I mean, my goodness, everybody at the same spot?
48th Street is gone.
Yeah.
All industrial.
In connection or something, that's all I need to know. Sorry, I didn't have the mic.
It's all on 48th Street.
Okay. Okay, so this building that haven't been put up yet, you looking to build?
That's correct. This is
And you want to use the variance to have it for whereas you could bring in your supplies or whatever as a roadway, is that correct? For all 4 sides, what you're talking about? The two, let me go back to where you
It's
at.
a new construction
Yeah, new construction,
of
okay.
a big warehouse.
Yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
Could you clarify that question?
All right, you want to use this for, the variance for the roadway to be able to bring in your material?
Yeah, the first variance is for the driveway separation.
Gotcha.
Yep, so that is for, the front, that entrance is more for employees and customers. There will be some truck traffic in there as well. But by having 2 driveways up there, it allows for anyone entering the facility to come and park and not have to drive down towards the outdoor storage portion where there's more likely to be larger trucks unloading into that outdoor storage.
Okay.
And just so the board is clear, same thing that I told you on his first application, the items before you are just the variances. So the one variance is for the driveway separation and the other is for the green belt. They'll still have to come through site plan, preliminary site plan and final site plan for the last slide that they showed you, which is their proposed site plan. They can't do that until you decide on whether or not to grant them the variance, because their site plan is dependent on those 2 variances that they're requesting. So just so the board knows, that site plan level review will still happen in the future depending on the outcome of today's hearing.
Okay.
But so you're not granting them any approval to build the building as you see it
That's
there?
I
or
understand that.
Right,
Yeah.
just the variances that are requested.
Okay.
What types of trucks? You said some will be larger trucks. I saw something, was it about concrete?
I'm going to defer to the owner.
Okay.
And let me swear you in. Go ahead and give me your name. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
My name
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
We're not gonna have a bunch of trucks in and out of the property. Currently, the company that we currently run, and we're moving our facility from Oakland Park to Mangonia ideally. It's been there since 1955, before all of you guys were born.
I was here. I was here.
Thank
So, we don't have large truck traffic. It's not like we're sending 18-wheeler trucks through the property. It's more your small box trucks.
Box truck, okay.
And the reason we wanted the flow of traffic is we want a nice, clean, clear fire lane, which is why we have to, ingress and egress on the south side. Just for that flow of traffic, obviously coming onto Australian, we don't want to be, having sort of trucks coming in and coming out, where there aren't a lot, but it's still kind of a tight angle. So for us, for the safety of our customers, for the safety of our employees, it just seemed to make a little more sense to have options so that they can more safely enter onto Australian or go through to the other side of the neighborhood. Thanks.
Are there any other comments from the board?
Public comment.
Public comments, any public? Y'all, okay.
Brought my little brother.
Huh? You about your little brother, okay. All right, having heard the applicant's request for the second portion, for the variances for this property, is there a motion?
So move to approve.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and seconded to accept your, grant you the variances that you need for this property.
Board Member Lewis,
Yes.
Board Member Griffin,
Yes.
Board Member Ferguson,
Yes.
and Chair Frederick.
Yes,
It's unanimous.
unanimous vote. Okay,
And Madam Chair, you have item 4 on the agenda. It's comments of the board or any public comment on non-agenda items.
comments, are there any comments from the public or the board on any of the items?
We have 0 viewers on YouTube, just for the record.
You have what?
Zero viewers on YouTube.
Okay, the Board of Adjustments will move for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
At, I don't know what time it is.
2:05.
2:05. You gentlemen have a good day.
Yes.
I hope everything works out for you.
48th Street is not.
We'll see you.
I'm telling you, I was not even going that way for a while.
Nice to see you again.
All right,
So
Jonathan.
they getting rid of all the residents, I think one gonna be there. Yes,
What's your
yes,
name?
yes.
What's your name?
Building it up.
John and Jonathan.
I remember you.
And where?
I remember you being, yeah.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, 'cause he'll be coming back.
Well, let me ask you a question though, here's the main
You had to
question.
get here.
Have you accepted Christ as your Savior?
They're probably
Understand, understand, not to attack you at all, but I ain't.
Because it, like you say, from the area that it's in, it's not like. it's a
Congratulations,
high
man, you gonna love it.
traffic area. Right.
Make sure
And I
you take care.
And I mean, our roads, it's not like you crossing 45th Street, our streets are this wide.
George,
Yeah, yeah.
You
You
all
too.
got a great
Yeah, you
work
all,
going on. Man, I appreciate
and beautifying,
Okay, all right.
yeah. That is a good work, yeah.
taking care of people. Let me ask you a question, are you
Yes,
doing any
yes.
hiring over
Look
there?
forward to it.
Okay,
You
thank
too.
Have a
you.
blessed one.
Take care.
Yeah, I want to use something cold, like a ice. No,
I
water.
know of people, I'm, sitting
Nice
outside
presentation.
the church, I know. Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to make that.
Please.
He's in a few more years than us, so I gotta
Very nice over there. Because a lot of the houses are old and kind of dilapidated houses. Well, if you go over where the truck, what is it, the storage thing, the big, what's the name of, what they call the name of today, the big place where they have the tow trucks?
You took cost.
Cost Towing. Well, where Cost Towing is right there, the rest of it is just north of there, all in, back in there, yeah, it's back in that area. 'Cause I think that first road, when you cross the tracks.
Cause we used to have some houses over there.
That's Foster.
The basketball player.
That's 48 is up one block, you have to turn right up. Because when you first cross the track, that first side road, that's Foster. You go up one, Foster, it's the, cross the tracks, Foster, and then 48.
I grew up my woods.
Yeah, 'cause you can't see their place because it's closed in. That's what you're saying, you can't see their stuff, it's closed in.
APAC.
It has like a wall of it, you can't see it. The detox thing, 'cause they already there. Oh, yeah, he had told us before when they came, that they've already operated. Yeah, they've already operated. Yeah. From the address. No, you go on 48th Street. 47th Street, you not gonna see none of these folks, it's all wall. I think you kinda gotta go slow. You gotta look for that address. But that address, and some of it, they may have it on the other end somewhere, you know, 'cause all of it's considered one property. All of it's considered one property, so. But I said, oh boy, 48th Street, that's commercial stuff. That's commercial, you know. That's how the town get its money's coming in. For all those businesses and stuff, you know.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, I told him, I wanna hear about these apartments.
So, actually, somebody else
running
running
me.
before
I said, wait a minute now, I need to.
Somebody else
But you
running
can't come
before you,
anyway
or
without
another company
letting everybody
take
in
it
the
over, and you
neighborhood
just,
know.
I know that's your
On our
man, I'm
street,
talking about,
you know.
your what's the name of it?
Especially after my husband's vehicle got stolen and all that. They said my 14. They said 14.
It's all, it's three.
That's not that many.
It ain't by your house, it's by mine.
No, this down the street, it's very.
Yeah, I'm the next house to the end. I'm on the end.
I thought you were.
My house is the last property before you get to the church
What
property,
about dealing with young people?
on that side.
We
No,
looking
I'm
at
at the
something
end.
coming
But they coming towards the Straight Avenue side, right?
some information.
They have property, they have a big lot
Yeah.
just, west of us, west of me and my husband's property. And they have the smaller lot up there on Australia.
Yeah.
They have two lots.
So they're trying to come over there where you are.
I don't know I don't see how they could put 14 apartments up there on Australia.
Education.
Where they gonna put 14 apartments on that little lot?
Major.
They wouldn't have no space to put no 14 apartments. That would be crazy. Cause what you supposed to do, go straight up in the sky, you ain't going but so far over here, you ain't gonna be in no tower.
They got a new golf course they introduced into the United States.
So they haven't said anything, but I've talked to a couple of their
But
deacons
it's
and
not
told
the
them.
regular golf. It's
I keep up with whatever going on. So,
We're introducing it here. It's really,
Mr.
really
Metcalf been
popular in
keeping
other
me
countries.
posted.
And they have one
I
that
told them, I said, they haven't said anything to me. I said, and it's gonna impact me, I said, because their members don't live there. They don't live there either, Pastor them, they go out west of Royal Palm, Wellington, wherever they live.
See if you would be interested in,
Oh, you know what, I got George Burns Jr. in my phone.
that's my son.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about some,
Security services. I don't need.
housing for seniors,
That's my,
which I
how
wanna
you,
put,
when you met, when you met him?
Right here.
That-
because they probably don't have a whole lot of company.
Oh, that's,
involved.
I just got sworn in. Got you.
And if you get a wild senior, I just call the police.
All right, cool.
We'll go from there. Thanks, man. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, you're welcome. Keep up the good work.
Enjoy that marriage life. Whatever you do, don't give up on it. Listen, not all the time, but anyhow, that's what they say.
That's right,
But it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I have my 28 years and counting.
Congrats, you on your way.
We can get out of this place. Hey, thank y'all.
We wanna add on to our house, so I gotta find out what process I need to go through. Cause see, our street used to be on, septic.
Yeah.
We didn't even know it when we bought the house. We were like, no, our property owner, they say, yeah, the whole street on septic. I'm like, what? But
Where
they,
you live,
they
Mr.
got
Frank?
that money.
Hampton.
Where's Hampton?
Court.
Oh, Hampton Court, okay. Yeah, so we got, when the other lady was here, Lee, she got those grants from the state, and they paid for the stuff on our street. We only had to pay, $2,500 per resident. That didn't, the church didn't get anything, because that's church property, it was just for the resident. And so the way they did that $2,500, we paid $500 a year added to our tax bill with the county for 5 years, so that made it more palatable. But we got attached to the sewer system, and so now we could add a second bathroom to our house, because we couldn't before. And so we have a little dip in our house. It's like it'll go and then it cuts off, go out, and it's
You on the
all
hill?
this open space. Pioneer Hill
Yeah.
subdivision, yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
she next to the church, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I know what you're
across,
talking about.
yeah, across from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're talking about putting up some apartments, from what I understand, but.
I don't think they got that approved. I mean, I think that's
No,
just.
they haven't gotten it, I know
That's
they ain't
just
got
a
it
talk.
approved.
That's
and
just
they-
a talk, I think it is.
No, Metcalf told me that the pastor came here, I think last week or week
Right.
before, with the planner,
Oh, he
to,
done moved over to
about the
plan?
planner and all, yeah, but they won't do nothing without the public.
Yeah, cause it ain't, it haven't got too preliminary where, yeah, but they just been talking, that's what I heard.
Yeah, cause I'm concerned about it, cause it's next to my house.
You gotta be concerned,
Yeah, I said, yeah, the pastor don't live over there. You don't live over there?
cause it depends on what type of residence you gonna, I mean, bring
Yeah,
into
but
there too as
I
well.
think the one I told, oh, he said senior housing, I said, yeah, that's what they say, and then they start bringing everybody in.
Right, correct.
Yeah, they say senior housing, but if they ain't got to rent it, they'll rent to almost anybody.
Well, it depends on it, well, that's gonna be owned by the church though, right?
Huh?
That's gonna be owned by the church.
That property is owned by the church, yeah.
I'm talking about when
They own about every house on the street. They
That's what-
own the house directly across
Oh,
from
well,
me.
they know what to do
The
then.
house next to that, they have already, these houses were already there.
Cause I'm thinking government being involved in that, so it's owned by the church.
Yeah, that's
They'll
church
probably
property.
get a,
They had that property when Pastor Haynes was there, the original pastor that built that church.
right.
Yeah, 'cause I have a lot of family in that church.
Gotcha.
They,
You don't go there, y'all pastor somewhere else.
Yeah, we're out in Riviera. My husband's the bishop at Church of Riviera. But see, they have about 3 members on our street.
Okay.
Other than that, the pastor and all the rest of the crew, they come in,
That's enough
put
to
their car
start, with,
in
2 or 3,
reverse.
but they
No,
got
they put their car in drive and they out of there.
it. Gotcha.
So don't come try to put it over here by me and then you go that way. What you talking about putting? I ain't said nothing. You better talk up. 'Cause I already told the deacons, oh, I'll be at the meeting. Don't worry, your little head. I'll be there.
I know that's right.
I'll be right there.
How many units they told them putting in? 2-story,
I think it
3-story?
said something about 14. I don't know. 'Cause he,
14 units, so
talking
that's
about
it.
14 apartments.
Yes, that mean that'll be, it gotta be, 2, well, 14, how big is that land, that parcel?
Well, see, they have a parcel to the west of our property.
Right, I
Because
know
we
you're
have
talking about.
15, 16, and the east of 17, east half of 17.
Five.
They have all that over
But that's gotta be
there.
a 3-story then.
But then they have, they ain't put no 3-story by me. They have property also up on the corner, up there. That would be too much.
For 14 units, 700 bucks, 700.
They have property up on Australian as well. They have that spot up there on Australian.
I'm happy for them. But
No,
anyhow-
they've been had that property, that ain't nothing new.
That pastor did pretty good. didn't he?
Yes, Pastor Haynes did all that,
Right,
because he had a love for the elderly. And he
Gotcha.
wanted to, on that property next to us, he wanted to actually build,
See, that's part of my
he
thing.
wanted to build,
They'll be more
a
quiet and nice
facility,
in the area.
he wanted to build a facility for the elderly. And so I don't have a problem with
That's what's
elderly
going on
housing,
here,
because I'm
you know.
elderly myself. Yeah, for the complex, don't move back there, yeah. That should be nice. I drove back there. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be, I think it's gonna be 3 stories, I think.
No, it's
Is
gonna be
it
higher
3?
than that, you know. It's higher than that.
Higher than that? Oh, okay, I thought it was gonna be 3.
Because
They're gonna
county
they're building
approved.
senior development back
Yeah,
here.
back here.
Behind the lake back here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're gonna have senior housing back there.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh, it's gonna be back there. It's gonna be
It's
nice.
actually in the phase already. It's
yeah,
just
it's
when they're gonna start construction.
Yeah, it's been going, you know, by the time you put a nail in the ground, you know, been about 5 years trying to go through the process. I know, 'cause we had it on our church in Riviera. And me and my husband would be out at these meetings like this, I put in, take my vacation time from work. Everybody else be home or doing whatever they doing. I said, yeah, when you saw the first stake put in the ground, we done been about 2 or 3 years with meetings and redrawings and this and that.
That's how it goes.
This garbage, y'all taking that stuff out?
That's your stuff.
I need
Sure,
to take
you
this
can do
off.
it.
Yeah. Take your pen.
I'm not taking, no, that don't belong to me. It belongs to the church.
That's not mine, is it?
No, it belongs to Sherry.
Okay, no, they ain't gonna reuse them. You take it.
No, once it's finished, it's finished. You have a note you saw before, but they'll give it.
You know, I rode my bike to work today, and I ride my bike almost every day that I can. Yeah, because I'm in Northwood, and I go right between there and our office. So, and I was like, I don't know the route to get here.
Yeah, they building up out town, child.
So I was like, I don't know.
Building up out town.
Yeah.
Building
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there's a way, but today, and I was like, I better, so I did grab some power.
It's not too far. I love that area. Thank you guys for everything. Excuse me, I'm sorry for all the errors.
See you later this week.
Okay, I'm 125 in dog years, you know that? All the time frames, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all over the place.
I was close.
I had poor Pastor Ferguson, he's like, okay, since 26, no. I said, no, it's the second kid. Thank you for bearing with me.
Because it was supposed to be at 10 o'clock this morning.
I know.
One of the mornings when you
Minnie
first
couldn't
started.
make it.
Yeah.
So Minnie was all over the place, Pam wasn't available, she's gonna be here on the 9th. The Diane wanted to split 3 meetings, and now I agree with you. Pam was going to be here on the 9th, but I didn't want the applicants.
Oh, do I keep
Because
waiting?
they were being delayed, when they are delayed, that's money. And even though it's their,
Time is money.
we try to, move as quickly as we can. I mean, people don't have money to put in the garbage can. Some of these applicants are like the guy Nick Savago, he was in a horrific vehicle accident. He lost his memory and everything. And he was able to walk
The
around.
one with the gray
The
shirt.
real last out. And when he came over a couple months ago, I saw the vehicle, and it was only by the grace of God he survived. And he said that. He said God had to protect me in that instance.
Oh, I know.
It was a big Ford truck or some kind of truck he had, a regular, like an F-250 or something. And when I tell you, it was, I don't know how to walk away from that.
Yeah, I know.
Only by an angel of mercy.
I know, what's his name, Polly Willis' husband was like
David?
David had a black car, and I remember it was
Like an
crushed.
accordion.
Yeah,
That's
it
how
was.
his truck was.
Wow. Did he flip over?
I gotta go.
Somebody hit him and.
Had to be a tractor trailer or something
Yeah,
for a
but
truck
that's
like
a
that.
small truck.
Yeah.
Mine is a
Lord
pretty,
have mercy.
and it sits up high.
Yeah, and something went through the back windshield of the truck, and Lord was just kind
Oh,
of raising
my
by the
goodness.
limbs. And he said he's just getting up, that's why I walked up to ask him how he was doing. He said, most of my memory is back. And I said,
Oh,
so that's why
good.
his project's been delayed, because he, all this other crazy stuff. But thank you.
Anytime you have to stay this long, you make sure you have us some lunch.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I know.
You know, she wants a cake and everything.
She's getting her stipend for the meeting, and I'll make sure that you get it within the next 24 hours.
Hey, thank you.
No, thank
See
you.
you tonight. See you tonight. One more
All right,
meeting.
tell
What they have interesting coming on tonight?
Tonight is
What's the name
nothing,
be here? McCormick. McCormick will be here.
the Congresswoman's coming.
Congress.
Oh.
Sheriff.